All right, guys. Hey, what's going on? My name is Chris Hawkes, and this is Your Best Life Defined. Hey, let's get right in this. I don't spend a lot of time in the past. I don't spend a lot of time with regrets and letting that dictate what my future looks like because truly we can't go back and change it, but we can change what we do in the future. And when I think about my life and the things I've done, one of the biggest things that I regret and now that I am blessed to know is that when you are in the moment, when you are spending time with someone, you have to engage them and because there's nothing else that's going to happen until you finish that moment anyway. And let me explain this a little more what I'm talking about here. So my dad died in 2011, and I miss the hell out of him. I mean, he was a big influence in my life. He was an amazing man. He had a heart as big as the world. And I remember we had, before we hit the road, our big house. It was a 3,000 square foot Victorian. We were on an acre and a quarter of land. And my dad would come over. He lived in the same town, and he had a small property, but he loved the ranch and farming thing. So it wasn't too many days when he wouldn't show up at my door about 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekend, or during the week he would be at my property most of the day. He'd be digging ditch or fixing the fence or messing with the cows or bringing hay in. I mean, that was his thing. And I remember I was so preoccupied and so distracted by all the things and all the goals I had going on in my life that I remember I'd come home from work, and I'd usually get home about 4 o'clock, and that was about the time he was done working. And I'd find my dad. He'd be sitting out in our outdoor kitchen under the patio cover, and he'd be drinking a cold beer because one of the things we did have was we had beer on tap in the garage. We had a 16-gallon kegerator in the garage, and we had these big 32-ounce mugs, or maybe they were 64-ounce mugs. I don't know. I got the biggest mugs possible because my wife would ask me on a Saturday, "How many beers have you had?" And I'd be like, "I only had 3." Well, it didn't go into the detail that would like 60 ounces each time or something, but it kind of a way to work around the rules if you think about it. But I remember pulling up, and I'd sit down under the patio with him for a while, and he'd be telling me stories and talking about his day. But instead of me being fully engaged, instead of me being in that moment with him, I would be thinking about the photography I wanted to get done, or the article I wanted to write, or some other thing that I needed to get done if only my dad weren't there. Well, my dad isn't there now, and I don't have to worry about him interrupting my life or getting in the way of the things I want to do. And that's a sad statement. Now, luckily for me, I've actually been able to change that. Now, I can't change it with my dad, but now I focus on being fully engaged, because you only get those moments. Those moments are here and then they're gone, and everything that is going to happen after that moment, it doesn't matter until you are through with that specific moment. So now, instead of me looking at the TV, I really focus on looking at my wife and enjoying her face. And even if the conversation is not interesting, my wife is interesting. And it's an opportunity for me to appreciate her in her wholeness. And I think that's probably one of the biggest downsides or downfalls to this life we're living, this hurry up life we're living. Now, you can see, obviously, this is the 24th podcast in 24 days, and I'm posting the videos to YouTube, and it is a lot of work. But you can be assured that when I get done with this, my wife and I are headed to the big town of Craig, Colorado. We got to do some shopping. I'm going to be fully engaged with my wife. I'm going to be fully engaged in that experience together, because that moment is where I am. That is what I am doing, and that's where it needs to be, because there will come a time when I will wish I had that opportunity, and she will wish she had that opportunity, and it'll be gone. I mean, that's just the cycle of life. And not only is it involved in our relationships, but in the activities we do. There's nothing that I hate more than painting. I just do not like painting. But when we were getting ready to sell the house, and I was renovating the house because I had things I needed to do to it, what I had discovered was it wasn't the act of painting that actually created my dilemma. It wasn't the act of painting that caused me the discomfort and the inability to enjoy that activity. What caused me to fail to embrace the opportunity to do a really good job at painting is everything that I allowed in my mind while I was doing it. When I was painting, I was thinking about how I wish I was working on the computer, or how I was outside, wish I was outside riding my mountain bike or hike, and I had a long list of things I wanted to do besides painting. But what I learned in things like reflecting on why I feel the way I do and things like this is that when I removed all those other obstacles and all of those other elements out of my life, and I just focused on painting, it was a pleasure. It was just what I was doing. It wasn't a matter of this sucks or this is amazing. It was just I was involved fully and I was embracing that moment. And now that I look at it, even this, I mean, has been a sense of dread in the early portions of these podcasts. If you go back and listen to some of my early podcasts, I'm not actually where I am now, and part of it is because I would look at it as a chore and as work. But now I see it as an opportunity to give people who don't know me insight into how it is that my wife and myself were able to take our lives from two teenage kids married early with no education and no idea what the hell we needed to do to the life we're living now. To the point that I have a wealth of information and I'm willing to give it away. I'm in this for you. I mean, does it benefit me? Yeah, I fully believe that when you give, you get. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what opportunities this is going to create for me. But what I do know is that it's going to give my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren, and who knows how far down that line, the opportunity to see who I am and see who I was, because I'm not going to live forever. And the way I see it, the only thing that really matters in life, the only true legacy that any of us can have or hope for, is a legacy that involves the impact that we have on other people. I mean, think about it. Think about someone in your life who has done terrible things or been terribly mean to you. I mean, you remember those people. And the same is true for people who have taken the time out of their life to make you important, to give you something that you can use to improve your life or make your life better. And that's truly what my goal is here. I'm not looking for celebrity. I'm not looking for money. I mean, we're not spending the money we're making now, and my life is just fine. So I guess what I'm saying to you is when you sit down and you think about the things you have to do, instead of thinking about them beyond where you are now, instead of thinking about the things you have to do from the standpoint of I'm sitting here talking to my wife and I really should be out mowing the lawn, embrace that moment. Embrace every moment. Embrace her eyes and her face and the words and what she's saying, and engage that 110%, because that is the only moment that matters at the time. And you realize that there is a point when it's all going to end. I mean, someone woke up this morning with a big plan for tomorrow. They're going to do all this today, and they don't really have time to be talking on the phone to the kids. And then guess what? Life handed them a deck of cards, handed them a card they weren't ready for, and today will be the last day of their life. And at that point, that quality, the quality of their interactions with the people they love, and even the quality of the life they've lived, is set in stone. There is no change in it. There is no going back. There is no making it better. So when you sit there and you think about all the things you have to do, load your calendar up. Load it up with everything you have. But don't forget that when you take on each one of those tasks, you engage that task fully. Because for the moment that you have set aside for that task, that is the only thing in the world that's important. That's the only thing you have to focus on. You see, the trick is that social media has set it up so that we are designed to be distracted. I mean, this whole thing about choices, about why we would buy a truck that costs more than our house, or why we would go into debt for a house that consumes most of our income and most of our time because we have to work to pay for it. By sitting back and actually evaluating what's important to us, by engaging everything we do in that moment, we are actually able to see it for what it is. I mean, I still don't want to paint, but I can and I will. And when I do paint, I'm going to enjoy it because I'm going to be in the moment and I'm going to be the best painter that I can be. And that's the same reason I continue to sit here. This is good for me. This is good for me because it allows me to vet every bit of my information and all the information I'm sharing with you to make sure that I'm not throwing some bullshit out there. You see, unlike most of the people that are out there doing what they do, I'm not asking you for anything. I'm trying to give you something. Because my wife and I are not supposed to be living this amazing life. We were not supposed to both retire at 54 years old. And by now we've been on the road almost 4 years, and we're living it. When we're loving it. We right now, I'm not, Meeker, Colorado is not exactly where I dreamed of being right now. I'm supposed to be on the Oregon coast. But this is the moment that I'm at. This is this moment in my life. And I'm going to embrace it, just like I'm going to embrace these podcasts. So take a look at your life, and when you have the chance to sit down with someone, be in it 100%. Be in that moment 100% and engage on 100%, not worrying about where your phone is or what you have to do, but rather making sure that you stay focused and you embrace the moments that you have with the people that you love. And even the people you don't. If you engage someone in a conversation, take the time to embrace that conversation, because there's always something we can learn, and there's always something that we will come away with if we just take the time to be in the moment. So anyway, like I said, this is about me, because I get to evaluate what I'm thinking, and it's a way for me to take a look at my life and continue to grow as a person and to live my best life. But my goal is for you to capture some of the wonderful things that my wife and I have been able to do in our life. And not necessarily because I want you to mirror the life that I'm living, because these shoes may not fit you. This life that I'm living may not fit you. You are a different person than me. And that's why it was always so confusing to me when I would sit and say, I often wondered when I started down this journey to live my best life, I would sit and wonder, why is it that everyone chooses the same thing? And why is it that no matter what their life looks like, everyone seems to be so damn happy? That's what they say. Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy as hell. I love my life, they say in an angry voice. The truth is, sometimes we accept the life we have and happiness comes from it. But the true meaning of life, or the true goal in life, should be to improve your life to the best possible denominator, to make it as energizing and as exhilarating and as satisfying as you can while you're here. And part of that comes from being in the moment, from taking the time to actually engage the things you do and the people that you speak with and spend time with on that level. So I guess I could probably go on about this, but I wanted to share some insight to you with you about how I think about what I'm doing and where I'm at right now. And there's a sense of relief in just saying this, that it's okay for me to fail. I'm not concerned about the people who don't follow my message or follow what I'm doing, because they don't count for me. Who matters to me are the people who are actually actively pursuing their own life and their own best life. And if you're in that, just keep rolling, because what you're going to see is you're going to see me continue to grow. And if you keep following it and you keep applying some of these principles, and not all of them, because some of them just don't fit, but if you keep trying to apply these principles to your life, where your choices are based on who you are and what inspires you, and you try to build your life around that, I guarantee you're going to see more success than you've ever seen in your life. In success in your happiness and your level of contentment, the level of excitement that you feel when you wake up in the morning. And really, that's all that's important, because we only get one chance at any moment that we spend. I only get one chance with you right now, and I'm doing my best, because you're worth it. So anyway, I could keep going, but I have a bunch of stuff to do, and I'm sure you do too. As always, I hope you are doing well, and may many blessings to your family and those that you love. And hopefully I haven't wasted your time. I'm really trying not to. Wake up tomorrow morning with a vision for yourself, and ask yourself how you can live your best life, and start working towards it. And it requires action. Hopefully I've motivated you to take that action and to be engaged with the things you need to do at the level that you need to achieve your goals. So anyway, until next time, just remember, my name is Chris Jaquez, and today's your day. Make it a good one.